birth pool supplies. So we are currently past 40 weeks, patiently waiting our little dude, and we are preparing for our potential second water birth at home. And if you've watched some of my other videos, I set up 3 different rooms. One of them has a bed, one of them's our bathroom with our bathtub, and then the third one is where we put the birth pool. So the birth pool is just an option. I did give birth in the birth pool with our first, and I loved it, but I'm always open to, you never know what you're gonna want in the moment. I don't know if I'm gonna wanna get in the birth pool. I probably will. So we have everything just to prepare, and today I'm just gonna go over what supplies you wanna have on hand so that you are prepared with your water birth. Most of these supplies are a little bit bulky, so I'll just pop up some pictures because after 40 weeks pregnant, you do not need to be lifting heavy things. But the first one, and it's a very popular popular brand, is Birth Pool in a Box. That's the one that we ordered. They have, I believe, 2 different sizes. I'll post them. And the smaller one is plenty of room if you're wanting to be in there completely by yourself. It's like perfect for just mom in the pool, very roomy. We ended up ordering the bigger one, the bigger size, and that's just in case you want a little bit more room. I'm like 5'10". I like to be roomy, you know what I mean? I just didn't know, so I kind of overplan. But just keep into account, both are great sizes, but you do want to take into account what room you're putting it in, which size actually fits better, because the big one, it actually is pretty sizable. And if you're in like a bedroom or somewhere that's a little bit smaller, you might not have room for it. So take those measurements into account, but both are great. Now, when you have a water birth, you don't actually put the water in the pool itself. Instead, you put a liner down in the pool, and that's what the water actually touches. So our first birth, we had a different liner. For second birth, you just buy a new liner. You don't have to buy a new pool. Our pool is completely sterile still. Even though I've already given birth in it, I've never actually touched the pool itself, if that makes sense. Birth liner, again, I'll post down below, but it's In His Hands is a website that I really like to order a lot of our birth supplies. I think their website is so wonderful. And the only thing with the birth pool liner, if you're, ordering it for the first time, your pool should come with a liner. Double check on your order, but it should have a liner included. With this being our second birth, we needed a new liner, and the only thing I really needed to take into account is the size. Because they have more than one pool size, you need to make sure you're ordering the liner that fits the pool that you have. So I bought the bigger pool liner since that's the pool that we have. Another one is, so when we did it the first time, we had no issues with any water getting on the floor, but it's still nice to have some things down just in case, because you've got a brand new pool and you've got a brand new liner. You're not gonna leak. Like, your floor is gonna be fine unless some crazy thing happens. You're not getting water anywhere, but I still put down, what I'm gonna do this time is a vinyl tablecloth, and I'm gonna put it upside down so that the fuzzy side is up, and I'll line that under the pool on our floor, and this holds water well. And this will just protect, if there's like little bits of water here and there. This is not protecting like full pool, overflows, but it's not gonna happen. You don't need to plan for that. You just wanna plan for if a little bit of water goes somewhere, you might want something on the floor. Again, take into account measurements. Think about how big your pool is, how big your liner is. You kind of want it to make sense. Another thing you're gonna need for your water birth is you're gonna need a way to blow up your pool. These pools are big. You do not want to manually blow this up. So you just want some sort of basic air pump. A lot of times the mattress, like the blow up mattress air pumps work great. Or if you don't have one on hand, you can find them online for very reasonable prices. So you need a way to blow it up. You also need a way to get the water in the pool. And typically, the easiest way is to hook up a water hose to like a shower head and then run that water hose to your pool. But in order to do that, you're gonna need a hose that reaches as far as your shower to your pool. So you gotta think about where are you putting the pool. And we have one that actually reaches to our kitchen sink as well. That way, if we hooked it up to the kitchen sink and we could just put it in the living room, it works for both distances. With the hose, you want it to be a brand new hose, never used before. It needs to be lead-free and it needs to be the length, like I said, that makes sense. You don't want to buy a 10-foot hose and have your pool like 15 feet from the water source. So think about where you're putting it, where it's going to be. But like I said, it has to be a brand new hose. You want this to be the cleanest water possible. So don't just pull your garden hose from the backyard. We're using a brand new one. Now, you do need to find an adapter piece that will connect your hose to the water source. So if you're connecting it to your shower, you're connecting it to your sink, you're connecting it to your kitchen sink, whatever that is, you need to buy, and usually they have them at like Lowe's or Home Depot, kind of back in the shower accessory section. Little adapter pieces that'll have one side that fits the hose piece and the other side, you know, depending on what your measurement is, that fits your faucet, your shower head, whatever you need it to fit. That is often the hardest part when it comes to the birth pool supplies, is finding the adapter piece that actually fits what you're trying to hook it up to. And you need to practice this before the day. Make sure that hose actually connects. Make sure the adapter piece fits. Make sure that everything is the right piece, because you don't want to wait until the day of and then realize that it doesn't actually fit. So that one you do want to troubleshoot a little bit with in advance and make sure what you have on hand is going to work for the pool. The other thing you need is a water pump. This one, it can be a little, it's not pricey, but it's pricier than the air pump. But this gives you a way to get the water back out of the pool after birth. Now, you're not the one doing it, so you won't remember any of this. But either your birth team or your spouse, someone is going to be in charge of pumping that water back out of the pool to empty it, and usually into the bathtub or somewhere where it can drain. So you need a water pump on hand in order to do that. You could do it manually, like one bucket at a time, but I highly recommend, we did the water pump. It's so much easier that way. Again, I didn't do it, but it does it itself. Now, the thing about that is you are pumping dirty water back out through that new hose. So if you have a second water birth, like this is our second water birth, you don't reuse the same hose you used the first time. So we put our first hose to use a different way, and we bought a brand new one for birth number 2, because again, you want that to be sterile. You don't want that dirty water that you pump back through it, you know, even though it's been 2 years, you know what I mean. You need a new hose, new birth, new liner. For most people, it's their first one. So you're getting all these things just for the first time. But if you're going to have these things on hand, you know, we keep them around because who knows if we're going to need it again. Those are just the ones that you do have to replace the next time. Whereas the air pump, you just use it every time. The water pump, you reuse it every time. The pool, you reuse it every time. Like I said, it stays sterile. You don't have to buy a new pool. You just buy new liner and a new hose. And depending on where you're connecting the hose, if you've moved or you've rearranged your plan for the next birth, you might need a new adapter piece. These are the basic things that we keep on hand for our water birth setup. There's always more you can add to it. If you've watched a lot of water births, which I highly recommend, watching some positive birth stories, positive water births, there's so much fun to just watch the adventures that moms go through. But a lot of people will set them up so cute. I'm much more of the wing it type. But I've seen people, line their pool with these like lights down in it. I'm assuming they're just, some sort of waterproof lighting source that can go right down in it. Or they'll line, around their like birth area with really smooth lighting, very low lighting. Personally, I just like icicle lights. It's the same ones that we put up for Christmas. We just pull them out for birth and we kind of just throw them over whatever window or curtain of the room that we're in. So I'll do the low lighting, but I'm not going, above and beyond. Like some of these births are just absolutely beautiful the way they have it set up. And I love that. But it's not my personality. I'm much more of the, hey, let's wing it. I've got stuff on hand. Let's just put it up when the time comes. But I hope that was helpful. That is the gist of what you want for your water birth. Highly recommend if you're planning a home birth. It's nice just to have all the things on hand. A lot of times, depending on who you're working with, every midwife that we've ever talked to or work with, they have the option where you can rent all of this. So you can just pay the rental fee and they will bring all of this with them and you don't even have to worry about ordering it. For us, I knew we wanted to have a number of home births. I don't know what that number is, but we wanted to have a good couple. So it just made sense to me that we just went ahead and bought it in the beginning. But I'm not opposed to renting it. I definitely see the appeal because then you don't have to buy all the things and have everything organized. They just bring it with them and they just magically show up with it and you're good to go. So that's always an option also. I hope this was helpful and good luck with your birth planning. Water births are amazing. Highly recommend. Like I said, just having the option on hand. You might use it, you might not. Same with us. We might use it, we might not, but it gives me peace of mind knowing that we have all the stuff here. And if I want to get in the pool, then I have the option.